Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes and the sneezy Cameron Riley and Med holding up the world and Damon Williams. Hello, gentlemen. How are you all?
Hello.
Hello.
Good. Doing
Hey,
good.
Yeah,
feeling great.
How you doing, Sybil Wilkes?
I am doing okay. Kind of a weird day for me, but I'm doing okay. Yeah, things. You had those days where things that you're gonna get all this stuff done, and none of it happens the way that it's supposed to. And that
It
was
Every
happens.
day.
yeah, every day that ends in Y for some people. But this is definitely Tuesdays are weird for me anyway. But this is definitely one of those days. So, how's everything with you guys?
Everything's good this
Are
way.
you are
Tuesday.
you on the road?
No, I'm actually in the studio, but this is my audition backdrop. So
Oh,
I'm still fighting the power,
right,
but
right, right.
I just thought this was a more crisp look for the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, all right
yeah,
then.
Crisp
yeah.
indeed, crisp indeed.
I like
A
it.
new, a crisp look for it. David Williams. Yeah, cool, cool.
Yeah,
Yes,
crispy, extra
yes.
crispy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so everybody's at home. Nobody's on the road, and all is good with
Nope.
you guys.
No, I am at the house. Weather was kind of weird today. 44 degrees to start it off after 87 degrees days last week. So it's Atlanta. But we're gonna warm things back up. But Monday and Tuesday they said, little put a little chill on your bones. So, but we're
And
good down
Dallas
here.
Fort Worth too. Like last night, it was in the 50s, and today it's close to 80.
Mm.
It's we had a lot of
It's
rain
April.
the other day. Yeah,
It's April.
and like a true homeowner, I'm not mad at all the rain. So I don't have to water my
Exactly.
and all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of weird, overcast days, and it looks colder than it actually is. But Cameron, how are you?
I've been great. It's been a great past couple days for getting outdoors, getting some exercise, um, checking off all the things that I've got to do. Lots of summer stuff is happening, so just bracing myself for the summer scramble, as I call it.
Okay, all right, good. Well, sounds exciting.
Yes.
Let's move to talk about and Med. I do want to point out that you have a guest tonight, and so please stay tuned for that. I can't wait. I love to talk sports, as you know, and this
Oh
young
yeah.
woman is just she is an encyclopedia of sports
Oh
knowledge,
yes.
and so
And
um,
fiery. I love Tarika. She dope.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. So we'll get through all this other stuff and talk news, and then we get down to the good stuff. Cameron, let's talk about your contribution to the What You Need to Know newsletter. Cameron is one of our young contributors, handling a lot of the political load, and he is politics. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor. Cameron's younger sister, Quinn Townsend Riley, is LGBTQIA plus, and the lovely and dear Aprilette Russell is mental health and wellness. And she would want me to tell you, nice haircut, Cameron.
Yes.
Cameron, let's talk about your story in the newsletter this week
Yeah.
and today, and writing about banned books. What's up?
Yeah, book bans. This is the year of banned books. 2023, we saw a total of over 4,000 instances of book bans across 23 states, across 52 school districts, which is way, way more than we've ever seen in previous years in our public school system. And to make things even a bit funnier, only 11 people are responsible for the banning of all of these books. And it's quite
11.
obviously a conservative political faction. And the books all have very common themes. Out of all of the books banned, 37% of them uh, contain contain instances of critical race theory. They contain information regarding people organizing and protesting. A lot of Black history are in a lot of these books. You recognize some of the authors, Ta-Nehisi Coates, of course being one of them. Ibram Kendi being an, another, and uh, books concerning people from like the LGBTQIA community, as well as indigenous people as well. So all
If it
of
ain't
these book
white,
bans are really just what'd you say? Sorry, what?
I'm sorry. If it ain't white, it looks like if it ain't white, it ain't right. That's how they looking at it right now, man.
Indeed, they are. Indeed, they are, all for just really trying to censor what it is that people are learning, which is incredibly ironic, considering the dismal state the public school system is in. And I'm just wondering, where exactly does the politics stop when it comes to our schools?
There's no separation between school and politics these days. Just like religion and the state, there's no separation there either.
Thank you,
really
social
isn't.
media.
Yeah, things are just very hyper politicized now, and there are certain factions in schools that are using scare tactics, always disguising it as parents' rights for what it is that they want their students to learn. A lot of these books that are educating students about people of different identities, these like right-wing factions consider it as like sexualizing children early, which is definitely not the case if you read any of these books at all. And also studies show that children actually are very accepting of people of different perspectives. It is the hate, as we've historically seen, that you have to teach a child to do. But it's erasure and it's ignorance that is being taught in schools nowadays.
And it's so lack of tolerance. One of the things that Coy Malone is doing, and we've been talking about and encouraging people to check out her posts. She does them on Thursdays in conjunction with Black Lives Matter, talking about the importance of voting and finding out if people are voting and why and where a lot of the attention should go. And we always talk about the fact that the most important elections that most people focus on is that for the presidency or the president, vice president. But the further down the ballot you go, the more aligned those offices are with your day-to-day needs. Those people that are running for school board president, those people that are running for a position on the school board, they make those decisions regarding the books and what's going to be on your library, or people will say, look, this doesn't have anything to do with the school board. If you don't want your child to read these books, don't let them bring them home, but don't deny the child in the next class that may need this from getting these books. Who are you to make these decisions? And we have decisions to make about the school, but the books, that's not it. And that's the importance of getting people involved.
Yeah, it's this false sense of trying to protect the children that they're using. They use that as the umbrella, the catch-all, to try to ban everything and protect. I have a cousin who's a teacher in Florida, and she's like, "Hey, just getting these kids to read, first of all, is the most important thing. Like you're banning books." You're banning books that these kids, they're not even going to the library. We have to force them to go to they don't even know what a library is right now, but you're banning books because it's not safe for children. How we try to focus on getting them into the library and start reading? I was like, is that bad? Is that bad? They don't read.
Damon, are you speaking?
Yeah, I muted it because I heard the child in the background. But I was thinking, like, what better way to get like teenage boys to read than a little spicy book in the library?
Or go
because really and truly, really and truly. And now that I think about it, I think I want to change back to my flag, because this looks like I'm look like a mugshot backdrop. The flag will be back next week. Back to this story though. Fortunately for parents, there are so many resources that you can reach those banned books. And if you really are involved and you're concerned about the banning, not saying that it should be allowed, you do have options. Back in the day, if they didn't send the textbook home or they didn't have a hard copy, there was nothing we could do about it unless you take your kids to the library. So even adults are not going to libraries as well. So banning books in schools is definitely detrimental, but we have options.
Yeah.
There are options, and participation on the part of adults in your school district, running for a school board, which people are able.
Gotta go. It's gotta go.
You are so ill. You are so ill. Cameron, you want to put a button on this, and as we close out on your story?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Just emphasizing the point of local elections, and those of us out there who are also still trying to unlearn some of our own biases. Maybe you should just pick up a book about the acceptance of others.
The
All right.
acceptance of others. Good words. Good words. Amongst the other things that we talk about in the What You Need to Know newsletter, Tuesday is the day with our CPA to the stars, Katrina M. Kraft, and she talks about unlocking your 401k and what you need to know. How appropriate in the What You Need to Know newsletter. She talks about your retirement savings and how they are crucial assets for your future. But did you know that 34% of household wealth is held in retirement plans, even surpassing home equity? That is an incredible piece of information. But before you consider tapping into your 401k, she gives you more information on what you need to know and how you can borrow money and how much you can borrow and who will make that decision as well. Katrina is very good at what she does. And as I said, CPA to the stars. And she said, you might consider a 401k loan for emergencies or when traditional loans are not feasible due to poor credit. So use it wisely. But, you know, we work very hard for those 401k contributions. And if your company makes them, good on you.
And if you're not really feeling well and you don't think you're going to live into retirement, you might want to borrow against it.
And tap into that then. Right. Exactly.
Well,
Right.
I mean, not only, I mean, I was being humorous, but, you know, even when people have like medical emergencies and things of that nature, and now there are ways that you can borrow against the equity and
Yeah.
still not tap the equity. And that's what I just saw some suggestions about that. What rich people do, they borrow against their equity, get a line of credit based on that as the collateral, but then you don't take the penalty of withdrawing. So
Really?
Ask Damon. If you have questions about your finances, about stocks, ask
Man.
Damon Williams.
but you may also end up here. Like for people on the radio, I am pretending to be on in a mugshot, taking a mugshot wall picture. So don't want you all to miss the joke. And I didn't mean to hijack your segment, Cameron.
Oh no, it's fine.
But check this out. You guys in Chicago and those that have access to Chicago TV, Coy Malone talks about a documentary that they're going to show on WTTW Channel 11. Documentary is called Shame of Chicago, Shame of the Nation. It's a documentary that shows the racist legacy of housing policies in the city of Chicago. Now, we all know about that. And this is an independent television station and talks about the 20th century laws, policies, ideas, and practices deliberately shaping the region, creating today's racial wealth gap, as well as what happens on disinvestment or divestment on the south side as opposed to the west side of the city, and people who are telling their stories about the racially segregated housing that has affected the families, the historians, and the journalists. So if you are in Chicago, or you can get to WTTW's website, check it out, because this is something to see. Shame of Chicago, Shame of the Nation is the documentary. So with that, let us encourage people, please go to SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to our newsletter. And I hope that you will consider it. It is absolutely free. And we do what we did on the Joyner Show, which is to super serve the African American community and bring about how this affects us. And it is a necessary, because oftentimes we kind of get caught up in the news of the day. But to bring it down to the how it affects people that look like you and you and you and you. That is the key, and that's what we try to do here. So please go, please, and thank you. We appreciate it. And Ned, I'm moving very quickly because I'm very excited about your guest. Would you introduce the lovely lady, please?
Yes. She hails from Detroit. She's a
Not the
fan of the
D.
Pistons. Somehow the fan of the Colts. I don't. Yeah, okay. But
Man.
she serves as a reporter and on-air analyst for CBS Sports. She also worked at ESPN and covered women's basketball and everything that is good. And that also is one of the hosts of the 3-on-3 podcast, Miss Tarika Foster Brasby. How you doing, T?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me. Hi, Sybil. Hi, Damien. Hi, Kim.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
I'm really excited, but I'm gonna let Ned lead this, but I'm gonna jump in because I love to talk sports.
Please.
Look, okay, so for everyone that knows me, I produce a lot of things. At one time, I helped produce the 3-on-3 podcast, and that's where I met Tarika. And when I tell you she schooled me just by listening to her talk about women's basketball, she schooled me on a lot of things. And so one of the main things was I was the main person. I think I've said it on this program right here that women in college basketball should stay in college so they can continue making more money than they do in the WNBA. And Tarika quickly killed that perception that I had. And now that's a huge talking point, Tarika. I know, because when I saw it, I thought about you. When I saw Caitlin's salary pop up on the screen, I'm like, ooh, she's about to have a field day with this. What are your thoughts on just how even though I know this has been a talking point for years, somehow Caitlin Clark has come along and has made this a national speaking point about the WNBA salaries compared to the men's?
Yeah, it's interesting because the WNBA salary has been low for years, like many years. Forever, like since this has been a thing. So, of course, that leads to comments and speculations and reasoning as to why now all of a sudden is this the hottest button topic across sports. And I mean, we know why it's really a conversation. I mean, we don't have to state the obvious, but it ain't a pink elephant in the room. We know why it's not a hot button in conversation.
Because they felt like they was mistreating the white woman. That's why.
As long as
I'll say it.
Who said it. As long as
I'll say it.
Who said it. But yes, like the other issue that we've talked about for years is the disparity in coverage between white athletes and black athletes, and this is just really a perfect example of that particular thing. I hear people all the time who say, Maya Moore is my favorite player. She was the GOAT. Candace Parker is my favorite player. She was the GOAT. And to that, I respond, well, what did you say about your GOAT being paid $50,000 her first year as a rookie? Because that was their first year salary. Like, it's not like this is the only player who's been paid this way. And so I say that to say that even though $76,000 for a starting salary is less than what some people in their regular day-to-day make a year, it is still an increase. And what these players have been asking for is just pay equity. There are so many people who don't really understand the difference between equity and equality. Like, they're not asking to make what the men make. They're not asking to make equal pay because they're not idiots. They understand that their product has not generated the kind of revenue that the men's product has as of yet. And so it's not possible to make $1 million salaries, but they can get the same equity. They can receive a same percentage of what that revenue is, which would drastically increase their salaries. The other part of that is folks really need to understand that making money doesn't stop in college. Your NIL deals becomes your endorsement deals. Nike is not going to just stop paying you because you've left whatever school you are at. They are now going to pay you more because you are now a free agent in these streets, right? And so your endorsements can and will increase. So you definitely still have the ability to make money regardless of what your NILs were. So there are a lot of different narratives that are floating around about how these women get paid. And it's just my job to kill the noise. Like, kill the noise, y'all.
Can you explain briefly what NIL deals are? Because we've been hearing about that, but it just came about recently where college athletes get paid.
Yeah, so NIL is an acronym for name, image, and likeness. And for the longest of time, the NCAA was capitalizing financially off the name, image, and likeness of the players who play for their school. Having been a former NCAA athlete myself, I ain't never seen no NIL because NIL wasn't around. And my NIL probably would have been some Bojangles chicken or something. Like I wasn't about to get no real bread. But NILs, they happen in a myriad of ways. It is not just always financially. They have NIL deals with people who have local businesses who will supplement an athlete with some form of a compensation for using their name, image, and likeness. And so what this did was this gave players an opportunity to make money while still playing in college. And it's not fair if we're being truthful because every player isn't on the same level. So every player doesn't make the same amount of money or doesn't make the same amount of NIL opportunity as some others. But that's the nature of the game in a way. It is a step up and it has allowed players to not just let institutions or schools capitalize off their talent. So a lot of these NIL deals come from some bigger name brands like a Nike, like a Gatorade, like a State Farm, for example. And what they do is when they leave college, they have an opportunity to turn that NIL into an endorsement. Larger money, larger contract, more opportunity. So college players like an Caitlin Clark, like an Angel Reese, they have been making millions for years now because they've built a brand and they've built a name for themselves that people want to pay for. But there's a key point and a key word in all of that. And that's called marketability. And the biggest problem that we face is that they do not market the women of the WNBA fairly, adequately, or all at the same level. So that's another piece of the pie that really has to be really reevaluated. And really, people just really have to understand in order for these women to get paid, you got to play them. You got to show them. You have to expose them. They have to know what's going on. They have to see them. And over the last couple of years, we've been able to see an increase in women's basketball exposure, which has led to an increase in viewership, which has led to an increase in marketability. I don't know why folks didn't figure this out before, that if you put the game on TV, people might watch it.
Like look at like the likes of which they've never seen before in not even just the Final Four of the women's basketball finals. It was incredible, but this is a point that I wanted to ask you about, is because before he died, Kobe Bryant it seemed like was going to put the WNBA on his back. And he was going to make them, because of his daughter's interest in the sport, he was going to make this his next project, to bring about the awareness and to make people understand about the inequities in the leagues and to bring and as you say, not to make them, extreme parity, but in terms of just to bring it up to the level where people can live and they don't have to go to a foreign country and work all year round. They can, have the ability to stay in this country and make all the money they can, as opposed to what they're doing now.
Yeah, Kobe, God rest him. Kobe, I met Kobe back in 2018, just on the humbug, like by mistake. Like we was in the same place at the same time by mistake. And it was at the Final Four. He was in Columbus because he brought Gigi to see UConn. She was a huge UConn fan.
I remember, and she would have been a South Carolina fan this year, I'm sure. But
you know what? She probably still would have liked UConn, but
she liked
hopefully, Dawn might have persuaded her. That would have been an interesting conversation. But what I will say is that there are players who continually try to do the things that need to be done to ensure that these women get their just due. You have players like Steph Curry, for example, who have had camps, one of the first really to have camps that were specifically for young girls in sport. You have people who continually to show up to games. Kevin Durant is another one. He continually to show up to support for basketball games. What the league needs more than anything is financial investment. Put your money where your mouth is. Like, that's essentially what needs to happen. We have people who are now starting to invest more in the WNBA, but that's really the biggest point is marketability and investment. There's a large TV deal that is coming up. There's a CBA, and when this CBA, which is collective bargaining agreement for those who may not, who are watching, who may not be familiar, these women get paid based off what some of the parameters are in their CBA. And the CBA that was created in 2020 was a groundbreaking CBA at that time. But since 2020, we've seen this sport grow exponentially. And so now that CBA just ain't cutting it enough, right? Now you're adding in the fact that this draft class has brought with them so many eyes, so much increased viewership, so many different opportunities that the TV deal that they're up for next year should really start to generate more than just $60 million. I mean, this TV deal should really generate some true income that they could utilize in their next CBA. So they have to make sure that they're structuring that collective bargaining agreement to their benefit. There needs to be some give and take. The TV deal, they have to make sure that they solidify, because I mean, it's the hot ticket right now. We're seeing venues sell out. We're seeing teams announce regularly.
We didn't even draft that well in Dallas, right? And the tickets are just flying off the shelves because of Caitlin, because of Angel.
Yeah, they're sold out.
Gone. The season tickets for the Wings are gone.
Yeah.
And Atlanta, the Dream.
Yep. Atlanta had they were gone. Indiana,
they had a terrible draft.
The Aces were gone. See, we're not gonna do that.
And in all fairness, too, the level of play I think has been elevated. The women are more entertaining in their play, and they're stylish more. To be honest, you know, back in the day, some of them players. Yeah, I'm gonna say what I need to say. Back in the day, a lot of the ladies, you know, weren't being extra feminine. You're gonna need men to be watching these games as well.
I'm gonna stop you there now. We about to fight now. Now we about to fight because
we might fight, but my point is well stated. They weren't 10 years ago. There were no lashes and long hair and glamorous players to an extent. Right. And I'm being humorous, but I'm also being honest because women hadn't supported this league as only women, but you're going to have men involved. And if you have some nice looking women, you're going to have more men eyeballs on the game. Plus, they only play 40 games a season. People have to realize that it's half the amount of time as the NBA. But go ahead.
They only play 40 games a season, but here's why we're going to fight. We're going to fight for two different reasons. So one, we're going to fight because marketability is what we were talking about at the beginning, right? And there is a disparity that if you are straight and you are pretty, that you get more marketability than someone who may be representative of the LGBTQIA plus community. I will give you an example. Jonquel Jones, she plays for the New York Liberty, single-handedly in some cases, took the Liberty to the final last year, right? Jonquel Jones is a former MVP. She is an amazing human being. She's so funny. She had her first commercial last year with State Farm. Why is that? Because she's a tall, dark-skinned Black woman who's gay. That is why she had her first commercial last year. Has nothing to do with her ability to play, has nothing to do with how fans love her and resonate with her, but because she is a masculine presenting lesbian woman, she does not get the same opportunities. And that is something that absolutely needs to change. Here's the second thing. At the beginning of the WNBA, they used to force them to look like more feminine type players. They used to force them, tell them what they could wear. Very similar to, you remember how when AI first came in the league and he was himself and they was like, oh, hell no, we can't have that. Y'all got to come here in suits. Y'all got to come here. Look, y'all got to come here looking different, right? It was a very similar situation in the W where they forced players in so many ways to look and dress and act a certain way because they wanted to gain a certain audience. But that audience is not going to be sustainable. You can't just be what this thing wants you to be, because just as you said that these women are entertaining, 10 years ago, they would have said these women are boring because all they do is shoot. All they have is fundamentals. They don't dunk. You should lower the rim. Well, here we are now where Steph Curry has made it super cool to shoot from the logo, where Caitlin Clark makes it cool to shoot from the logo, that nobody's talking about lowering the rims anymore. Nobody cares about that, right? So authenticity is what matters. Authenticity is what sells. And now the league has allowed these women to be their authentic selves. So you get the Angel Reese who wants to wear her lashes, but you may also get the Nalissa Smith who wants to put on a cool suit and be like, hey, this is my swag. And you love all of it. That's what will bring in fans. That is what will
the
bring
little
in people.
girls, the young people that
Yes.
identify with the lashes or with the cool three-piece suit.
Yes.
That is and engendering a whole new generation.
But in all fairness, you'll get Magic Johnson way before you got Manute Bol as far as commercial is concerned. So if your ass is ugly, you're not marketable. I'm just saying.
Okay, so maybe
I'm not messing with you.
Radio spot.
I'm not messing with you.
Because there's a place for all of us on radio.
Suge Avery got way more love than Celie.
I'm not messing with you.
You know what?
Hey, no, Tarika, I wanted to bring up
woman to say that to him. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Tarika, I wanted to bring up this fact because you're talking about marketability, and we've seen like the Caitlin Clark shoe deal. Asia Wilson, MVP, 2-time champ, still looking for her first shoe deal. So you're talking about marketability. Why can't Asia, who okay, here we go. She was tall, pretty, straight as I can understand right now. Why do you think? And I know it's not. Do you think it's just race? Because then they showed the 3 people with shoe deals in the WNBA, all white women. So it's just like Asia Wilson.
I think it's race. Do I think it's race? Man,
Because
you
Wilson,
know
Asia
me
Wilson
well
is,
enough to know the
she's
answer
funny,
to
she's
that.
pretty. It's like I would think that she would be an easy sell. That's like easier than the women that they pick. So I was just like, is it that bad?
I have no idea what Nike is thinking, and this is no.
Oh, you know what
nothing.
they're thinking.
Oh, I mean, of course I know what they're thinking, but I'm saying I don't know what
everything on black people. I'm just like.
I want Michael Jordan's mama to get out there and do for them what she did for her boy in Air. That's what I'm looking for.
I just don't understand this idea of Asia not being marketable, because this really is no shot to Caitlin. As far as I'm concerned, get your bag.
I get it.
Like,
I get it. Why? Yeah, I get it.
Because get your 20 mil. Like you get what you get. But Asia is, again, this goes to the disparity in coverage, because Asia is a 2-time champion, a 2-time MVP, a national champion, defensive player of the year, has a statue in Columbia outside of her school. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, which is a D9 organization. Shout out to my D9 sis. Like, I just left Vegas literally 2 days ago, and all you can see on the strip in restaurants are 22 jerseys, Asia Wilson's pictures and faces. To say to me that that woman is not marketable, she's a New York Times bestseller. To say to me that this woman is not marketable, you're lying to yourself, because you're not selling it to me. That's one. Number two, definitely don't tell me black women aren't marketable, because we are the market, baby. Everything that everybody wants and has, they getting it from us. Everything that everybody wants to do and represent, the style, the looks, the hips, the lips, all of that, they're getting it from us. So everything about being a black woman is marketable. It is basically about what people put on the map. These companies invested in Caitlin, and they invested in Caitlin, which then made Caitlin more popular, which then helped to make Caitlin more noticeable, more recognizable. Asia Wilson is the face of the WNBA. And it's just that simple. If Nike wanted to give her a shoe, they could have done it already.
So
well, fortunately, I believe that this will be a renaissance for the league, just like Bird and Magic. I think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark's battles, if their gameplay and their rivalry builds, I think the league is in good shape, and I think there'll be more marketable players throughout the league, God willing.
Would it behoove someone who is a big marketing basketball player from Nike? Would it behoove them to go and to say Nike, hey, check out Asia, because you're missing it. You're sleeping.
They know she's.
But that's what I'm saying. I know they know. I know they know. But would it behoove somebody in the NBA to say, check out my sister because you all are doing right by her?
If LeBron James, who has spoken out numerous times about why Asia don't have a shoe, ain't moved the needle, it's not about other players standing up for her because everyone has stood up for her.
I've not seen LeBron. I've seen him once mention it, but I've not seen it.
Oh yeah, LeBron has mentioned multiple times about why Asia doesn't have her own shoe or why Asia isn't more in the forefront. Like, this is a very nuanced conversation, and it's much deeper than what it appears to be on the surface of like, it is much deeper than that. There is a long ingrained history of us not getting our just deserved, having to work twice as hard for almost not even close as equal of what our white counterparts get. And so this is just simply another example of that. And a lot of people take it as us hating on Caitlin when that is not it whatsoever. It is not about her or her talents, because she has earned and worked for what she got. But there are other people who have also earned and worked for certain things and have not even remotely close to have gotten those things. And that's what we're arguing about. We're not saying don't give Caitlin a shoe deal. We're saying Caitlin should have a shoe deal and Asia should have a shoe deal.
Yes,
we're saying that, exactly, like there was a 96-page magazine that was created for Caitlin. I'm not saying don't create a magazine for Caitlin. We're saying there are players that have come before Caitlin who also should have had a 96-page magazine. And the fact that this is happening to white athletes, it is, and there are some white athletes who understand their privilege and have spoken up about it. We've heard it from Kelsey Plum. We've heard it from Paige Beckers, even on the collegiate level. Like, we've heard it from players. Brianna Stewart has spoken up about the way that Black players have been treated before. And I would argue that we already have our bird in magic, because Asia and Brianna Stewart been going at it for years now. And that's and with the West Coast, East Coast thing now, it's really giving bird and magic. But
Indiana and Chicago, not so much.
They
but it's this moment and the magnitude of Caitlin and Reese and them having that college rivalry as they had. I think if Michael Jordan said he wanted to do a shoe for her, then it would be a done deal at Nike. But we know how Mike is.
It's time for Asia to leave Nike.
Yeah.
I mean, Adidas is doing just fine for Candace. Candace got her own shoe, got her own Ace line, got her own everything. So it might be time for Asia to consider moving the needle a little bit. Maybe Nike won't realize what they got until it's gone.
Sarika, I know you have an appointment for the top of the hour. I really want to thank you so much. We've run right up against time into the next segment, but will you come back again?
Please invite me back. I promise I won't be in my car.
It's fine. We've had people come from stranger places. And maybe next time Khameron will step up and ask a question that we didn't allow him to get in. So thank you so much, Sarika. Please come back, and good luck to you, and especially there with CBS Sports. Very happy for you.
Thank you so much. You guys enjoy your day.
You too.
What up, though?
What up, though? Hey.
That's the
She's
Detroit
a star,
thing, people.
Odd way.
Yeah.
First time I saw her when I produced 3 on 3, I was like, "Oh, she got it."
Yeah.
I was done after I saw her the first time. She's really good.
Yeah, she is, and I want people to respect the fact that she's not just talking the talk; she's walking it, and she knows her stuff. She really does. So thank you very much, Med, for bringing her in. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And I want all the women to know out there, I was just being the protagonist.
It's too late. It's too late.
Hold on. He called it a protagonist, not an antagonist. He said I was being a protagonist.
Right.
Protagonist.
Right. Yeah. You're
I'm an advocate still, but I was speaking from terms of you dig from the barbershop.
This is how we thinking.
From the barbershop where you spend so much of your time. Yeah. Let's move to trending, shall we? Damon, where are you taking your antagonist self this week?
I'm going to be in DC at the DC Comedy Loft this weekend, but of course tomorrow the resurgence of the City Winery series in Chicago. So I'll be at City Winery tomorrow, and then at the DC Comedy Loft this weekend. Also, I have Barry Brewer, who is he was just on America Got Talent at Riddles this weekend. He's a hilarious, clean comic. He has stars in movies and television shows, but he also was just on America's Got Talent. So there's a lot going on. If you want to laugh, you can find out right here, DamonWilliamsComedy.com. It's all available there.
Or you can see prisoner 467936.
Yeah, N23677. Yeah. That was actually a number of someone that I won't speak about, but that's
okay.
He's home now. It's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. One of the things that I did want to ask her about, because this is, when I was like, well, Caitlin's not getting paid enough. And I'm like, well, where were you when, we were talking about Brittany and why she was in Russia. She wasn't there just trying to sneak some weed into the country. She was there and has been playing there for years because they aren't getting paid enough. It's just, but that was a Black woman. And if it had been Caitlin who had been held there in Russia, it would have been.
Caitlin would have gotten out day one.
Right.
Caitlin wouldn't have been there longer than a day.
Right.
They'd have gotten Caitlin out there on a private jet. Trump would have gotten her himself. It would have been a wrap.
This story, message from Red Lobster. Thanks a lot, Med. Bankruptcy in our future.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Yeah, we need to talk about this.
Red Lobster is considering bankruptcy partly due to $11 million in losses from the endless shrimp deal.
Yeah. Okay.
I would have thought it would have been from the free biscuits.
So we talked about this on the Morning Hustle, and like you, L'Oreal blamed me for this situation, and rightfully so, because I am a connoisseur of the endless shrimp.
You have it down to a science.
Very much so. And they look. I knew trouble was on the way when they didn't stop it. I'm like, something going on. I'm gonna keep partaking, but y'all have had this going all year. 2023, they literally had endless shrimp going all year.
Endless shrimp.
They can't hold this. This isn't sustainable. I'm gonna keep eating, but this is not sustainable for y'all. And to come to find out, it wasn't. And they've just been struggling. And the funny thing is, we talked about it again on the Morning Hustle. And the thing that we were talking about is that we think that maybe all these crab places that never really were there before, but the juicy crabs and all these have been kind of taken from, Red Lobster. And now Red Lobsters, sometimes, going beside themselves and trying to change up their menu, try to have their little crab boils. We don't come here for that. We don't. That's not what we do here at Red Lobster. We don't.
Endless shrimp.
Thank you. And the biscuits. All right. And so my thing is, I think that has affected them. The amount of new crab spots, new seafood spots locally, in the city, in the suburbs. There's a lot of seafood spots that we did not have before. And it's the Asian invasion. They really they kicking that thing off, like, because it's like a lot of them are owned by Asians, and they are really diving into that market, and that is really, I think, hurting Red Lobster.
Well, they say they have not made the final decision about filing for bankruptcy yet, but they said it would help the business continue to operate while they figure out their next plan, which may include renegotiating some leases and their contracts. And they said a $12.5 million operating loss in the fourth quarter of 2023 did not help, but despite raising the price of the endless shrimp promotion.
We didn't notice because you had it on all year, and I was like, you got to stop this at some point to save yourselves. And they did not.
And I would have thought that was a larger corporation where a $12 million loss wouldn't be so substantial to their bottom line. But what do I know? Because you think Red Lobster is like McDonald's, and if McDonald's lost $12 million, we'd never hear about it. But
no, the issue is that it sold. Red Lobster used to be owned by the Darden Group, and if it was the Darden Group that still owned them, then you probably wouldn't hear about
Garden and Seasons,
Olive Garden, Bahama Breeze, things like that. But once they got sold off, the company that they got sold to doesn't have that kind of money like Darden has. So I can understand why
I invest in Darden stock weekly, so I'm glad we shunned that wasteful shrimp debacle. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start looking at the tables and cutting back on some of these portions around here at those other chains you mentioned.
And Med, don't give up your plan
crusade.
and how you go in and work the system.
Oh no! It will not. That's why they need to go ahead and get that bankruptcy, close some of these slow moving restaurants, close them down, because the one by my house is busy, so I ain't worried about them. They need to close the small restaurants, get the bankruptcy going through, get through that, and let's keep this party going. And also, we can always buy the biscuits frozen in the at Walmart or at your local grocery store. So we good, baby. We good.
If those grocery stores aren't closing up as a result of putting
that is true, because Kroger's getting sold. Kroger got sold, I think, like 100 of them.
And Kroger's and Albertsons, they have to sell off more in order to make this multi-million-dollar deal work.
Walmart ain't going nowhere, so we good with Walmart. Let's go ahead and get the
Hold on. Let's not make them too comfortable, because then there's no competition. And then how do we get sales? Where do we take our coupons and all of that kind of stuff? This is a sad story. Legendary college football coach Archie Cooley Jr. has died. Mr. Cooley coached for more than 40 years, primarily in HBCU programs, and died on the 18th of April at the age of 85. He was born in Sumrall, Mississippi, and he played football at Jackson State before starting his coaching career on the high school level. And he started coaching, college coaching at Alcorn State and then at TSU, Tennessee State, before taking over his own program at Mississippi Valley State. And it was there at Mississippi Valley in Itabena, Mississippi, he gained the national notice coaching future Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. He and the quarterback Willie Totten and Rice combined to give Mississippi Valley an explosive offense that they called the Satellite Express. And all thanks to the coach there. And 85, Coach Cooley, thank you for all you did for HBCUs. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi said she believes Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu should resign, criticizing the Israeli leader's aggressive response in Gaza to Hamas' October 7th attack and saying Netanyahu has been an obstacle to peace for years. Go ahead, Nancy. She ain't scared of nobody. She made the remarks in an interview with an Irish broadcaster during a visit to Ireland, and Democrats, including President Biden, have grown increasingly critical of Netanyahu's leadership of Israel. And the only reason why, and this is from me, this is only my opinion, but the only reason why he is continuing this war is so he can stay out of jail. Because he too, like the former president of this country, has done some things, and by staying in office as the prime minister and keeping things under his control, he won't have to pack things up and head off to the pokey. So it's interesting that people are starting to come out and call Netanyahu this block to peace, and trying to explain this to people, how he is doing this and how he and his government knew about this attack a year before it happened and did nothing and allowed it to happen. And then, you lose 1,000 Jewish people, and then you come back and you kill that many times. How many?
Yeah. It's very interesting to me that America is really, fighting this fight about, Israel, killing, civilians due to trying to kill terrorists, when, we don't have the best history of
right.
Fighting terrorists, we sometimes miss, and we oops. So it's just kind of ironic that we're we're talking about this and the country and they're admonishing Israel for doing what they're doing. So it's just very interesting to see.
It's window dressing and saving face. I mean, they're in cahoots with each other. We supplied the weaponry. We back them. We support everybody them as a government. So they have to come out and say, "Oh, let's cut it out." But U.S. government is complicit in half of this violence that's taking place over there. 100%.
President Obama said,
Around the world.
You don't want to know
what we know.
The real. You don't want to know the real.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that includes aliens too. By the way. The TikTok ban has cleared a key hurdle in the Senate. They voted today, advance the foreign aid package that includes the provision that could lead to a ban on TikTok. You're shaking your head, Khameron. What do you have to say?
Oh, it's just a waste of taxpayer dollars and a waste of everybody's time.
Why?
That's all. There's just a lot of other things that we need to focus on than banning TikTok. There's a lot of people who get income from TikTok. A lot of WNBA players launch their platform on TikTok. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark being both of them. So the only reason why America wants to ban TikTok is because we can't keep up with the amount of data harvesting that China
But if China is able to ban a lot of companies off of their apps, then why can't we ban TikTok?
Oh,
it's
we can't because it's not that we cannot. I mean, we probably might, but we shouldn't because we believe in free speech. We believe in the free market. I mean, just a TikTok ban is so antithetical to everything that we've ever done. And also, banning TikTok would give Mark Zuckerberg way too much market share of the
well, he
social
doesn't
media
need any
sphere.
more of that, but certainly it would. But what about the whole? And I'm playing devil's advocate. What about the whole spying ability and getting information from innocent people, innocent children who are just trying to learn to dance, but giving up their information, their parents' information, to people across the world?
Yeah, I mean, the NSA, Google, Meta, they all spy on us just as viciously.
It's not saying, but I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just still saying that here you have an opportunity to get rid of something that you can't do with these American companies.
Yeah, I would argue that the government should just instead focus on international data regulation than just flat out banning an app. But there aren't enough smart people on the Hill for those kind of negotiations.
Well, and if they ban TikTok, it's not going to be that many old people on the Hill. Because if you want to wake up these kids, take away the TikTok. Yeah, if they send out the proper e-blast or the proper posts and memes about who banned the TikTok, you might wake up a whole electorate that they didn't know they wanted to poke the bear.
They were that would do that, but they haven't gotten the response. TikTok is saying, contact your congressman, contact your senator, and they aren't getting that kind of response.
No, they need Drewski to say it. They can't let they need a few influencers to say, hey, they're about to take away this TikTok and speak the language with the proper memes, and they'll flood the streets like they did at the end of that movie Head of State when it looked like Chris Rock was about to win the presidency. Okay. You got to see. Have you all seen Head of State with Chris Rock and Bernie Mac?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a classic.
It's one of my favorite movies. Security.
Congress, focus on AI, please.
Say that again, man.
Focus on AI. If you want to focus on anything when it comes to the internet and technology, focus on AI because that thing about to get out of control.
If it's not already, yeah. In entertainment, check this out. Did y'all see the story today that Kanye West has his sights on a new business venture? He wants to get into the porn industry.
Oh God, here we go.
Well, it seems like he's already putting his wife out to work. So
yeah.
It says he's been, go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Damon.
No, I was saying his first wife became famous from porn. So he'd been into the porn industry before.
And forced to watch her with others, probably.
No, chose to watch.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, he said he used to watch that every day.
Yes. It says he's been kicking around the idea of launching his own porn studio and brand for a while. And now he and his partners are in talks to actually get something up and running. They've been talking about building a porn studio, which would be a part of a broader adult entertainment division of the parent Yeezy company. And one of the people he's talking to is Stormy Daniels' ex-husband, who is said to be a veteran in the porn biz, as a way to help have him help them get their business up and running.
I mean, that's just a bad idea. I mean, a lot of porn is just built on trafficking and just like unethical practices. And OnlyFans totally dominates the market right now. So I don't even know what Kanye is doing, but just from like a business advisor standpoint, it's just
maybe it's brand pairing because his clothes already have holes in them. So if they can wear Yeezy gear and still perform the acts while wearing the clothes, so now it's a twofer.
So it's functional clothing. Yeah.
Yes.
You put the hole in the right spot. Yeah, I guess you're right there. Yeah.
Easy glory holes.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Get them glow Yeezys. And then get Glorilla to be the spokesperson.
Right.
Gave him a whole marketing plan right here on the Sybil Wilkes show.
Hey, you heard it here first, Yeezy. Okay. So let's close out with the jewel. A wise person once said, just let things play out because what is supposed to happen will happen.
Was that Confucius?
Confucius say. That's Yogi say.
Yogiism.
That was Yogi.
Yes, well, thank you.
Thank you, voice of God.
Ever powerful, all seeing and hearing Yogi. Omnipresent Yogi.
Omnipresent, boy. I love it.
All right, guys, go out there and have some fun. Go play, be brilliant, and we will see you all again soon. Take care.
Holla.